Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the podcast for healthcare moms who want to break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable confidence, and step into the truest expression of themselves, both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Corey Wynn. I'm a wife, a mom, a doctor of physical therapy, and a peak performance strategist. Working with highly motivated women to transform their lives and inspire those around them is what truly lights my soul on fire. Each episode, whether it's a solo session filled with actionable strategies or an inspiring interview with a woman who has overcome significant obstacles, is designed to leave you feeling worthy and confident in the value you have to offer everyone around you. I hope you walk away empowered and ready to take that next step to lead your life on purpose. Now, let's dive into today's show. I am so excited to be here with Jessica Papineau today. We have been talking a little bit before the show, but she is my personal fashion stylist because as a mom, I realized that despite years of feeling pretty comfortable in my skin and years of saying, oh, I will never have that mom look that we all kind of swear we won't end up feeling like, I did. So thank goodness for hearing her on another podcast and getting to know her. But let me introduce her real quick, and then I can't wait to dive into all things fashion for us moms. Jessica Papineau is the founder of CSJ, a leading authentic fashion styling company for high-performing female entrepreneurs. Jessica has personally styled hundreds of women, spanning seven-figure entrepreneurs, executives for billion-dollar global brands, online influencers with millions of followers, and professionals in the entertainment, sports, and music industries. As a top leader in fashion styling, her insights have been featured in various print publications and media outlets. Over her 25-plus-year career in the fashion industry, Jessica has consistently pushed the envelope of fashion styling. Her innovative work has been recognized as the top-performing salesperson, customer service award winner, and leader of teams of 60-plus for major brands such as Aldo. In support of her high-performing clientele, Jessica partners with high-end brands such as Paige, Jacquette, Philippe Model, Majestic Villagers, Varley, Hanky Panky, Nation, and Shoshana, to name a few. Jessica also understands that life is about more than money, fashion, and business. In support of giving back to the community, Jessica regularly partners with nonprofit organizations such as the Tidewell Foundation and SPARCC to auction and donate high-end clothes from clients and provide hope to people in need. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Corey, for having me. That was a mouthful. Bio. I didn't realize it was that long.
Well, you have a lot going on.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you. Thank
So
you.
tell us, I mean, I know I have heard your story, but I know it will resonate with so many. So if you would tell us how you got started and how you ended up here.
Oh, it's so I have an interesting story. So those that, meet me now would never in a million years imagine how I grew up and how I got into this business. So my family, my parents were hippies, and we lived off the land, like literally bare bones, no electricity, no running water. We had an outhouse. We had a wood burning stove to heat the whole house. We grew our own fruits and vegetables and canned them in the fall. And it wasn't something that I would have chosen. And so this is why I truly believe that we all are born with something that is our gift and something that, we were born to do. Because even living in that way, from the time I was about 4 years old, I would go into my closet every day. And mind you, my clothing was from Salvation Army. And I would take these articles of clothing from Salvation Army and make all these outfits. Like I would put them on and make it really interesting and fun and look in my full-length mirror and pretend I was at parties. And I imagined that I was anywhere but where I was. And so, like fast forward years in the future, and I think to myself, I didn't want to be there at that time, but the biggest gift that I got from living in that way was my imagination because we had no television.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could play in my closet and I could make these outfits and I could imagine what my life could be and wearing these beautiful things. And so that's really where it all began. But then fast forward to age 16, I had an opportunity my parents had been divorced. I had the opportunity to move to Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, which like big city, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted more than anything to dress other women. And I was so excited because I had this opportunity, but I had never been in the big city. And the first thing that I did when I got to Winnipeg was, well, my dad enrolled me in school. But from there, I decided I am going to go to the big mall. And I had to take two buses to get there. I had on my black skirt suit and nylons. And I had a resume that I had typed out on an old typewriter. And I took these two buses to get to the furthest mall, which was the biggest mall. And I had never been on a city bus, so I was extremely nervous. But when you just have that passion and excitement that you will like do anything. So I go to the mall and I'm handing out my resume to all these stores and not really getting a response other than we'll call you kind of thing. And so I get to the furthest store of the mall on the second floor and I walk in and I wasn't deflated. Like I was still just as excited and
I love that.
walk up to the manager and, give her my resume, tell her a little bit about myself. And she hired me on the spot. And I think she did that simply because she could just feel my enthusiasm coming off
Mhm.
of me. And so I go in for my very first day, and unbeknownst to me, I had been hired at a woman's plus size clothing store. And mind you, I'm this scrawny 16-year-old kid. And I'm thinking, wow, like I have this opportunity now. And women
Mhm.
start walking into the store. And when I'm asking them if they want help, they're like literally putting their hand up in front of me, like, definitely do not want help from me. Right.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm deflated, right? And then I finally, over the course of about a month, I started watching these women walk in. They would like frantically pick up, a bunch of clothes, go in the
Mhm.
fitting room, and then walk out of the store with all the clothes in there still
Mhm.
looking completely defeated. And
Uh-huh.
then over the course of that time, I would see them try on clothes and come out and see them like in these fabrics and want to go up and dress them because I knew how I could make it look even better for them.
Mhm.
And finally, one day this woman walks in and I remember her name because this changed the game for everything for me. Her name was Kathy. She walks in, does the same thing, frantically picks up the clothes, goes in the fitting room, comes out, looks in the mirror. She looks like she doesn't like how she looks, leaves everything in the fitting room and goes to leave. And I said, "Excuse me." And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Clearly you came all the way to this store, to the furthest mall, and it is like the dead of winter. It's cold outside. You must have had a purpose in coming. And I know you didn't want my help, but at this point, what do you have to lose? Give me a try."
I love that. What do you have to lose?
I know. So I know I'm telling this very long story, but I just want to give your listeners like the true like how this came to be and how it evolved.
Mhm.
So Kathy, take her in the fitting room and I put on these very fitted clothes. Like it was either black or navy, like pants and a more fitted top and tucked the top in and put a belt on her. And she comes out and she looks in the mirror and I see her eyes go to the areas of her body she doesn't like. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, like this woman's an executive. Like she had told me about this big position she had had. And I thought I was the only one that had insecurity about my body, being scrawny and I didn't like my skinny legs but I'm watching her do this like almost shaming, right, of herself.
Mhm.
And I could just see it in her eyes and how she looked at herself. And so after putting on these clothes on her body, I picked up a long duster sweater and I put it over her. And then I put on, at that time, long necklaces were really in,
Mhm.
and some earrings. And I watch her eyes shift. And they shift from like looking at what she doesn't like. And I see her look at herself up and down, and her eyes fill with tears. And Kathy turns around and she looks at me and she said, I have never felt this way. Like, I actually feel pretty.
Mhm.
And I never thought that someone like you, this 16-year-old scrawny kid, could help me feel this way. And literally, that was it for me. I
Mhm.
knew that was my calling. I knew that's what I was meant to do. And then, so over the course of years, I mean, I have many stories, of course, and in my early 20s, managing women at another clothing store, that these women were like 40s and 50s, and I was 21 years old. And it was just because I was the best salesperson. I had the most energy.
Mhm.
And I never felt like I was selling a thing except for confidence. And I
Mhm.
loved that piece. And now, all these years later, I now live in Sarasota, Florida. Uh, I started my company February 14 of 2019. And I had been in retail for so many years, but I saw the need to deepen the impact that I was making on these women's lives. And I know I'm telling a very long story here,
No, but I
but
love it. I love it. The fact, I mean, just the fact that you mentioned feeling defeated coming out of the dressing room,
yeah,
I think that that resonates with every woman I know, whether they're one size or another. I mean, I think that that is one of the biggest things that I've heard from clients and friends is things don't fit anymore, or the styles don't seem to work for them, or we just have as moms like 30 minutes to go try and find something really quick. And my husband, bless his heart, I love him dearly, he will come shopping with me and pull everything off the rack that could possibly ever fit and like hold it up and what about this and what about this, and then I'll come out of the dressing room and go, no, none of it looked right. So just that defeated, that's the commonality I hear from so many women. And just being able to give them the confidence back, because it does, it helps you show up differently. And just to kind of piggyback on that, when we first started talking, I hadn't really gone shopping in 5 years. And in fashion sense, I don't know how many styles had come and gone in that amount of time. But I think as moms, that happens. We have kids, we forget to focus on ourselves. Our bodies change, whether we weigh the same or we don't weigh the same anymore, and things don't fit the same anymore. So when you think about things like that, what's kind of the first thing you look at with women in helping them kind of restyle or update their wardrobe?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say, Corey, the woman that I'm really serving in the deepest way is that high performing woman. Whether she, is working outside the home or not,
Mhm.
typically she is a mom, she's a busy mom, and she really desires to be the best version of herself in every area of her life. With her work, if she is working outside the home, she
Mhm.
is, wanting to be the best version there. She's constantly reinventing herself, she's learning, she wants to
Mhm.
grow. At home with her children, she is, she's that mom that really wants to sit with them and do the homework and participate in, what it is that they love to do, whether that be, soccer or theater or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And with her husband, she desires to really deepen that relationship always and put the work in and have date night and deepen that relationship. But the one thing that I find that these women are not doing is they're not giving themselves the opportunity. And I know this is going to resonate with you, Corey, because I know this is your woman as well. She doesn't necessarily take that opportunity to take care of self, right? To
Mhm.
really look at herself and her desires and her needs and what she truly wants, because she really is looking exterior for what should she be doing, right?
Right.
What do other people want and need from her? And
Mhm.
so what I've learned over the course of, 25 years of working with women in fashion and helping them feel more confident is that there's a formula that and a framework that I'm using that really works.
Mhm.
And so I've been very thoughtful about this. And so now, I really can put names to it. So the first part of my process really has nothing to do with the clothes. The
Mhm.
process has to do with reviewing and reflecting on her life. And what I mean by that is, this is a woman who hasn't given herself permission to even think about what she desires and really
Uh-huh.
go there.
Uh-huh.
So, when I come in, I'm really holding that space with her. I'm asking her the question, like, where do you see yourself? What's your 5-year plan? Where do you want to be in a year? What's happening in 6 months?
Mhm.
And typically she will say to me, something will come off her tongue like very quickly. Like, I want the promotion at work. I want to be the, VP of sales, and I'm this, right? I'm in the mid-level position right now. Or,
Mhm.
she'll say something about her children, like that, I want to see my child graduate high school, and then my husband, like, they won't talk necessarily about what they specifically want. And
Mhm.
so I'll dive a little deeper, right? And I'll ask them, what do you love? And then eventually we'll get there, and I'll hold the space with her and get her to actually describe to me what she desires.
Mhm.
And typically she cries.
Yep.
Usually there's like a silence for a moment as I see her think about it, and she begins crying. And sometimes she'll say things like, wow, nobody ever asked me that question before. I've never really thought about it. I've
Mhm.
never really stopped to think what I really wanted. And so, what I find when we do this is that I can use my superpower, which is my imagination, and I can get her to tell me what it looks like and what it feels like to be in the place of what she really desires.
Mhm.
And I close my eyes and I imagine what she looks like. And that is the lens when we actually take the time, whether it's, virtually or in person, walking into her wardrobe. That's the lens that we're looking at her wardrobe with.
Mhm.
What in here, in this space, reflects that woman that you desire to be?
Mhm. Mhm.
And let's line that up, you know, because so many pieces in women's wardrobes do not align with the woman that they desire to be. And
Mhm.
so, a lot of the pieces in there are no longer serving them. They're reflective of past. Many of them don't even fit, and they're wearing a very small percentage of their wardrobe. And that percentage of their wardrobe, that rotation of outfits that they're quickly grabbing every day, they feel just good enough in.
Mhm.
And as the high performing woman that's doing for everyone else, she deserves to wear clothes and put articles of clothing on her body that make her feel amazing.
Mhm.
And she is worthy of something more. And what I find, and I won't go today, we don't have time to go through each step of my process, but what I find, the transformation that I see, is that when she can line up her wardrobe with the life she desires, she can put those articles of clothing on every day, and she can look in the mirror and she can feel incredible. And instead of narrowing in and focusing in on the areas of her body that she doesn't love, she begins to see herself as a whole woman, as
Mhm.
a beautiful woman, and sees what she does love about herself. And she can literally, instead of focusing on what she doesn't like, she can look into her own eyes and realize her true power, and then go out there into the world, step into her power, and
Mhm.
share her gifts with the world in an even deeper way. And so
Mhm.
that push that moms feel, the push of wanting to be that best version, instead becomes a pull she begins to feel pulled towards what she really is designed to do.
Mhm.
She becomes more successful. Her relationships deepen. Her children become happier and flourish. And this transformation happens that literally is my why that lights me up. My gift, right, is the clothing. That's the vehicle.
Uh-huh.
But really I'm going from the outside in and helping women to really transform their lives and live the life they were designed to live.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, it's so true. I remember when you asked me, is there anything in your closet that makes you feel amazing? And I searched and I searched and I said, no, there's nothing. Everything is just good enough. And when you think about working with you or high level coaches for personal development, I do feel like the common thread with my clients is starting off not even realizing they're just surviving.
Right.
And then when we get through that point, starting pulling back the layers and leaning into what their desires are, it is very emotional because we often realize we haven't thought about that since we were a little girl or since before we were married and had children. And like you said, nobody has asked. So starting on this journey and on this path of opening up and becoming is huge. And so many women, I don't think recognize that they're even there
Yeah.
because they're giving out so much all the time.
Yeah.
Um, when you think about wardrobe in particular, is there something that many of us do that kind of sets us up for failure or a way that we can kind of start?
Yeah. So what I find with women's wardrobes is that most of most of them have about 85% novelty items.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by novelty is even like the fast fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really tells a story, right? So many women, especially busy moms, right? They're looking for their style, but they don't have the time to really think about what their style is. And just like you said, Corey, they haven't even thought about what they really want in their lives. So they're
Yeah.
looking exterior. And so, social media is a wonderful thing. Google is a wonderful thing, but it also can get us out of self, right? And not thinking about what we really desire, but this comparison thing happens. It should be used, fashion and trends and things should be used as inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
but oftentimes it becomes like, you're scrolling on Instagram and you're seeing women in these outfits. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Is that my style?
Uh-huh.
Click and buy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
those items come to the door and you put on the outfit and look in the mirror and it doesn't look the same. It doesn't look like it looked on the model. And
Mm-hmm.
then women start to think, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my body.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look like the model, or it didn't look like it did on the model. And really, these are all marketing tools.
Yeah.
Because the clothing, I've been on the other side of things. I've been on, fashion shoots and fashion shows, and all those clothes are clipped, and
Uh-huh.
like the when the photo is being taken, it's airbrushed and all the things. But women really think there's something wrong with themselves, and they also don't take the time to really learn about fit and fabric. And
Mm-hmm.
so the way that I work with my clients before even thinking about the styles and the trends are, what are those core items that line up with the life you desire, but that are basic, that are really those core basics, and really, working on the fit so that, the pair of jeans that she chooses, she doesn't have to have 50 pair of jeans,
Mm-hmm.
right? But she keeps rebuying jeans, hoping that she'll find the right one, thinking there's something wrong with her body. But there is a fit out there. And it's about investing in those really great pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Like designer denim, that is one thing. Like there's things that you can go less expensive on, but I don't believe jeans is one of them or denim is one of them. You know, a designer denim, it's all about the fit and fabric. When you
Mhm.
put on a pair of jeans that are a little higher in the rise, that the fabric content is like a 2% lycra, and then there's, you know, the great cottons in there, and you put them on, you know, it's really going to like lift and smooth and do all the wonderful things that you want it to do.
Mhm.
And it's about making those right choices. You know, you can have three pair of denim, you
Mhm.
know, a dark or black pair, a medium wash, and maybe a white, right?
Mhm.
And be able to wear those season after season and feel great in them. So
Mhm.
where women are making mistakes are, you know, frantically buying without a purpose. And
Mhm.
this is why, you know, I used to see this in retail all the time, and I realized that the need of really me as a fashion stylist working one-on-one with women, helping them to shop in that purposeful way and getting those core items using, you know, the resources we have like Instagram and Google and Pinterest and all the things,
Mhm.
using what we see as inspiration to, you know, be the icing on the cake or to be curious and try different things, but not to try to have someone else's style.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Yeah. And I think talking a little bit about fit is important because I hear it from moms all the time, and I was the same way. As you get through pregnancy and you're like, "Oh, I want to fit in my jeans again. I want to fit in my jeans again." And you may be or may not be the same weight that you were before, but
Yeah.
things don't fit the same. And I remember my mom telling me that when I was pregnant, and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I'm going to get my body back and all the things. And I think for one, there's a push for that. But two, there is a reality.
Yeah.
If you carried a human inside of you,
Mhm.
your body has changed. If you nursed, your body has changed. And being able to own that and feel confident in your skin again is so much more valuable than I realized because I'd sort of put up this wall of, oh, I'm going to be the same person after being a mom.
Right.
And we're not. And that's okay. And there's a level of self love that comes with that too, that
Yeah.
I hope to pass on to my daughter and recognize that all of those things are normal and beautiful. And you can still have excellent fashion that makes you feel like $1,000,000 when you walk out the door.
Absolutely.
Um, we were
I
talking.
find, oh,
Oh,
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, go ahead.
I was just going to make mention to, you know, what you said about fitting into the clothes that you fit in before children. You know, I see this all the time. There's like a stack of jeans in a woman's closet
Mhm.
that she in her mind is saying to herself, I am going to fit into those one day,
Mhm.
right? And in doing that, when she walks in her closet every day, she's not wearing them, but
Mhm.
she's saying that to herself. And in doing that, she's actually body shaming herself.
Mhm.
And she's never going to fit into those jeans in the same way because, like
Uh-huh.
you said, Corey, her body has changed. And even if, you know, you lose the weight after, you know, the baby weight and whatever, and even at that point, and your size may be what it was before, but the clothes that fit you before will never fit in the same way. And, you know, really, this is how I'm able to educate my clients on, you know, then it really becomes more about fabric than it
Mhm.
was before. And, you know, and really knowing what the right choices are
Mhm.
for, you know, this new body that you're stepping into. And it is a beautiful thing. You know, we as women, we're constantly going through transitions in our lives from before, you know, before babies, after babies, transitioning back into the workplace and really, you know, rediscovering ourselves. And, you know, something always has to die for something to be born and something new to arise. And I think sometimes, you know, as women, we hang on to past and we wish our bodies were like they were, or we wish we had the life we had before with the freedom, you know, and all the things. And but we're looking behind us and we're really not going that way. As the high performing woman, we want to step into something bigger. We want to
Mhm.
step into our power. And how do we do that? We don't need to have what we had before. It's about reimagining our lives, being curious. And much like when you're a child, like trying out, new things, even if
Mhm.
it's uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
And that can be clothing, you know?
Well, and I think that there's such a common theme too in growth is growing through the uncomfortable. And so
Yes.
many of us, me included, for years, I'm going to stay back here, stay invisible, be in my box of what's comfortable, and then wondered why I wasn't moving forward, wondered why I wasn't growing, wondering why I wasn't, you know, building like I wanted to. And it's owning and being able to take mentorship and take coaching and take counsel from people who are where you want to be. And that is all the things, whether that's business coaching, fashion, um, mentorship through whatever like spiritual organization you're in. Um, but it's the growing through. I love that. Something has
Yeah.
to die for the new to be born. And I mean, if you're a mom and you carried somebody, that's exactly what has to happen.
Yeah.
New things have to happen. So,
And it's also about, you mentioned, Corey, about, being small and like not how you're showing up. And, what I'm teaching women how to do on the outside is really how to highlight their best features, like how to really, because as I was mentioning before, and way back, that first time that I helped the woman in the plus size clothing store, her automatic response when she put clothing on her body was she wanted to hide. She
mhm,
wanted to cover up what she perceived as shameful, what she perceived as flawed, and her eyes were going right to that area. So, really, what I'm showing women how to do is highlight their best features, how to wear fitted clothing in the right way when it's a great fabric that really, skims the body and not feeling like she has to hide. But one thing that I do notice, even when, I help her to wear that outfit that's really, highlighting her best features and she's feeling wonderful in, one thing that I've found, and this is why when I'm working with a client, I don't just help them that one time with clothes,
uh-huh,
because there's something that happens, it's a very vulnerable place for me to be with them in that space in their closet. And then once they finally get comfortable and feel pretty, right, and feel confident, they still need to step out into the world that
right,
way. And
right.
that can be a scary thing when you're fully showing up in your power, you're feeling beautiful, and you walk out the door, and what happens is people are starting to look at you. I have a client that recently she emailed me, and she was much like the woman that I'm describing. She even has her one child now is 10 months old, and she's back at work and she's going to seminars, and she's in this world of there's a lot of men.
Mhm,
There's some women too, but there's a lot of men. And she was feeling when she would walk in these rooms like small,
mhm,
and not using her voice and not fully stepping into her power. And we had a conversation, and she said, I'm going to this event, it's more like business casual. So I was thinking I would wear, jeans and this blouse, and I said, well, do you feel pretty in that blouse? And she's like, it's okay. And so I had sent her a style box with this beautiful dress, and she had put it on and she was like, this feels a little strange. And she knew she looked good in it, but it felt weird to her because she wasn't used to putting something on that the fabric was great. Like it was a little bit more elevated than what she was used to. And I challenged her. I said, I really want you to wear the dress to the event. I know it's business casual, but you can still show up looking your very best and feeling your very best. And so she sent me an email after the event, And she said, okay, so Jessica, I felt completely overdressed that morning. I put it on. I knew I looked really good in it. She said, but when I walked into the seminar, she said, all the eyes were like on me. Like everyone was looking at me and I was feeling a little uncomfortable. But then what I noticed, like even after the seminar, some of the women that were there were like walking up to me and they were, talking to me about, what they loved about the seminar. And she said, people were just completely attracted to me. They were talking to me. She said it was wonderful. The energy was high. I was able to talk about, my position in the company that I work for and share my ideas. And she said it was like incredible. And I left there knowing that what you told me to do to wear that beautiful dress, that it changed the game, not only for me and how I felt, but I was able to, with my energy and the gifts that I have, share with the other people in the room and help lift them up.
Mm-hmm.
She said, now I get
Uh-huh.
it. Now I understand the why behind the
Uh-huh.
showing up.
It's so important when you feel incredible and you can step into your own power, then walking into a room, people do gravitate towards you. You are the expert. You are the one who they're looking for advice from. And you touched on this a little bit before we started the show today, but how do you help your clients kind of show up from the beginning of the day? Like, I know you talked a little bit about morning ritual, but how do you talk about, or maybe you want to talk about yourself as far as what you do to kind of
Mhm.
set that stage for the day?
I find that, the one missing piece when we talk about morning habits, this is a big topic right now, right? And how we show up and, and really starting our day off right. And so, and I do this too. You get up in the morning and you move your body. I get on my exercise bike. That's my thing. And, just to kind of get things moving, get my day started. Journal. Many people journal. Some people pray. I jump in the cold tub every morning after I do my workout and just like, literally chill out, um, and listen to my podcast and put all that good into my brain. And so before I've even like gotten ready for the day, my mind is getting right. But then
Mhm,
there's the next step to that is how we physically show up and
mhm.
being very intentional about how we're getting ready in the morning. Like, get in the shower. If it's day 3 or day 4, wash your hair, ladies. Like, it's time. Wash your hair. If you're wearing a dress, shave your legs. We take that extra time. And, when you get out of the shower, like putting on your skincare, caring for your body, put on your makeup if you wear makeup and go in your closet. And even if it's a Monday, put on your best outfit. You
Mhm,
deserve to put on your best outfit and feel amazing before you leave for the day. And it changes the game. It
mhm,
changes how you show up. It changes how other people respond to you,
mhm,
and you have the ability to truly share your gifts with the world and make deep impact. Like at
mhm,
the end of the day or at the end of your life, what truly is the most important thing? It's not the amount of money that we made, right? It's about our connections to those that we loved. And
mhm,
we really, you talk to so many people that have even had like near death experiences. They start to think about, oh my gosh, like, did I make impact? What was my
mhm,
purpose while I was here?
mhm.
And can we truly do that if we don't feel great about ourselves? The
Right.
answer is no. And so I came up with, and I speak to companies about this. And the name of my presentation is Get Up, Suit Up, Show Up. And
Mhm,
that really is exactly what I just described. And I really came to this on my own with my own experience. And I've actually never shared this before, Corey. Sometimes it takes time for us to like understand that, that through line between, our own experiences and then how we're sharing things with the world and helping other people. And so I suffered really badly with severe depression in my late teens and early 20s. And I had a hard time even getting out of bed in the morning.
Mhm.
And when I finally went through therapy. I got some tools to really, handle the depression and where it came from, but it was also chemically, right?
Mhm.
And, so I had to take medication and all the
Mhm.
things. And once things got better for me and I wasn't depressed and I was able to, and this was a time when I was going to college and I wasn't even able to go to my classes. Like I would only go on the testing day or the day I had to hand in the paper because I really didn't want to show up. I didn't want to be in the room. I was so depressed. And so once I came out of that and I began to feel better, I realized that if I very intentionally got ready every morning and I did the getting up and the suiting up and feeling beautiful, that I could start my day, even if when I first got out of bed in the morning, I was scared or I really didn't want to show up. I knew if I took those actions that I would feel better when I felt like I looked amazing.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's so true. And I mean, when I was a kid, my mom used to get up really early in the morning, and I remember thinking that she was nuts. And she said, Corey, this is my time to read and have quiet time and go for a walk or whatever that routine was that moment that was hers to help her
Right.
show up for the day the way that she wanted to show up.
Yeah.
And I think that that resonates with so many of us now. So many moms that I talk with are giving and giving and giving and giving and not doing anything to replenish their energy, their self-care, nothing. And kind of flipping that script and turning it back on themselves is a lot of times very hard. As moms, I think we're conditioned to just perpetually give. Um,
Yeah. Can
so
I touch on what you just said? Because
yes.
it was really interesting. I think oftentimes when we think things are hard, it becomes very difficult to get started and be consistent in those habits.
Mm-hmm.
And so me saying you need to get up, suit up, and show up, it doesn't mean you want to. You
Uh-huh.
could still be scared to really show up powerfully, but
Right.
if you continuously take those actions every single day, it does get easier.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
feelings don't go away. You still can feel scared, but you have to keep doing it. You have to show up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you and I both know Elise Archer. She says so often something to the effect of if your dreams don't equally scare you to death and excite you, then you're not moving in the right direction or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
If you're not scared, then you're not a little bit uncomfortable and you're not growing.
Yeah.
Um, I want to,
It's the only way through. It's the only way through is to lean in to that uncomfortable
mhm,
and to be scared, but also to have courage and do it anyway. And if when people want to experience true joy in their lives, they're going to have to experience the uncomfortable as
mhm.
well.
Yeah. Well, and I want to be really respectful of your time, but do you have one more time for like one more question?
Yeah.
So I know you also know Nadine Hanafi with Digital
Yes.
Brand Kit, and I spoke with her on our last episode about colors, and we started talking a little bit about photo shoots. So when you work with female entrepreneurs, I know you and Nadine have kind of partnered up with some of your clients to coordinate their brand photography. And I work with several entrepreneurs as well and other women thinking about jumping into the entrepreneurial world. What kind of is your process, or do you have any tips about brand photography and that kind of process?
Yes. Well, really, what I do, it naturally lends itself to image consulting,
Uh-huh.
right? And one of my most favorite things to do is set women, female entrepreneurs up for their photo shoots.
Mm-hmm.
that are specifically for their websites and how they're showing up online, right?
Mhm.
And so it's interesting because a couple of my clients that I've had before I even really knew Nadine, I had been working with them on, on fashion, and they were going to be doing, photo shoots and things, and how I was getting them to set up their clothes and setting up their outfits for the actual photo shoot.
Mhm.
What I was hearing from my clients is they were saying, "Oh, well, I work with Nadine, and everything you just said was exactly what she told me about my copy, and exactly how she came up with my colors for, and so I realized, okay, I have to meet Nadine because clearly we are aligned. And her process actually is very similar to mine in that, we can really hold that space with our client to understand their personal brand, who they are, and what they really want others to see of them when they see them online, and we can
Mhm.
bring it to life.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people do not put the intentionality into their photo shoot.
Mhm.
They come up with their logo and, the copy and all the things. But when you choose someone for your team that, to be on your marketing team that really wants you to have the most success, they really get to know who you are at a deeper level. And that is something that Nadine also does. When you really get to know someone on that deep level and understand their personal brand, you can
Mhm.
help it come to life in an even bigger way. So the
Mhm.
intentionality around the photo shoot, photographers don't necessarily know. They think of headshots. They think of,
Right.
okay, I can do a lifestyle shot, but really, where are these photos going? So if you know on each page of the website, right, what the purpose of that photo is, what feeling you want to evoke when someone
Mhm.
looks at that picture, the homepage of your website, the hero on the homepage, like that needs to be impact. You need
Mhm.
to be like, the person needs to feel like they want to get to know you.
Mhm.
Based on, obviously the copy and the colors and all of that, but then also how are you positioned? Is your body, looking them in the eye and them feeling like
Mhm.
they know you? And then are your clothes reflecting, that professionalism, that authenticity, whatever your brand really is it
Mhm.
truly reflecting that? Or are your
Mhm.
clothes wearing you? Or do you not look polished?
Right.
Oftentimes photographers don't necessarily know what you should be wearing, or they don't smooth out, the blouse that you're wearing. And
Mhm.
so I really teach women how to be intentional and pick the outfits based on what the copy is and what the logo is and all of
Mhm.
those things. And so I love working with Nadine. We're a perfect team together, and we've seen many gosh, I think about 3 or 4 websites now come to life with the work that I've done with the photo shoots and the work she's done with, the copy and the digital brand kit that she
Oh,
does.
yeah, it's wonderful. Like I said, we'll be doing more professional headshots and whatnot in the future. So I'm excited to go through that process as well. Well, this has been amazing. Is there anything that you can think of that you want to make sure that our listeners
Yeah.
know? And also, I want to make sure that they know how to get in touch with you so that they can work with you as well.
Well, I'd love to share with your audience some really exciting things that are coming up for CSJ
Yeah.
Styling. We actually, for many, many years, I've been working one-on-one with women, and I've determined, so we have around 600 clients now. Don't ask me how I'm able to serve every single one of them, but it's grown tremendously. And so I've realized that as being one person, I can only work so much one-on-one. So we
Mhm.
actually have, it's super exciting, an app coming out. It's a styling app. And in my research that I've done, I believe this is the first one. So I've never found anyone else that does this. So I have a digital course that will be housed within this app. And the digital course is an 8 module course on how to edit your wardrobe, how to set it up for success. It's basically a DIY of my process,
Mhm.
right? And then also housed within this app is a membership program. So basically, this middle tier of membership is a community, and it's a community of like-minded women that are the high performers, right? That really, get the digital course, but then want some guidance and some coaching on really, how to do these things. So I'm going to be on there diving deeper into each module of the course, doing live demonstrations, really focusing in on different topics on fashion and beauty,
Mm-hmm.
as well as bringing in some really cool guest expert speakers.
Oh,
I have curated this amazing group of professional women that are in all different areas, whether that be coaching, fashion and beauty, the
mm-hmm.
makeup, all the things, leadership, mindset, all the things that my professional woman, high performing woman really wants, but doesn't have the time to curate. So I've
Right.
curated this group of women for her. So it's going to be so much fun. And then our top tier of membership really is what I'm currently doing. And we also have another app that's launching, a lookbook app, which I'm about to unveil for you after we do this podcast today.
Yay.
And any woman that's listening that really desires to level up her wardrobe. She, is in that position that she's sick of all her clothes. She knows they don't line up with who she truly authentically is, and she needs some assistance. I offer a free styling call, and I will offer this to all of your listeners, where we can get on a call and we can really dive into what her needs are, and I can meet her where she is, and we can really come up with a plan, and I can help her determine, the timing of where she's at, and based on what those needs are, maybe what would be the best plan for her.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It has been
Thank you
such a
so
pleasure to
much.
have you on today. And I know there are so many women and moms out there who are going to be so blessed by all of this information.
Yes. And can I give you my handles? I
Yes,
think they're going
please
to be in
do.
the show notes,
Absolutely.
but anyone
Yes.
that wants to follow me, I give tons of value on my Instagram and Facebook. I'm on YouTube, all the things. So on Instagram, I'm at the Jessica Papineau. On Facebook is Customized Styling by Jessica. And then I also have YouTube. And let's see what else. Oh, and go on my website, csjstyling.com. And I also have a free wardrobe edit blueprint. And I highly recommend that your people get that free download. It's a really great, actionable way to take some steps in your wardrobe today to get it set up.
Oh, yes. That's where I started.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I started. And I
Yes.
remember getting on our first call and said, okay, I've done all of that. I now have nothing left in my wardrobe. Help. Oh my gosh. Well,
Well,
this has
thank
been absolutely
you.
wonderful. Thank you for letting us know how everybody can get in touch with you. And I can't wait for the app to come out. That's going to be amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to today's show. I just wanted to pop in with a quick offer. If any of the topics we talked about today have left you wanting more for your life and you just aren't sure how to take the next step, I'd love to offer a free discovery call to see how the high level coaching and strategizing I offer may be of service to you. Just head to corywin.com and click on Request a Discovery Call. That's www.coreyWinn.com. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you on the next episode.